Over the past 20 years, we have gotten hundreds of figures from Marvel Legends, but there is one line with an even more expansive selection: MiniMates. We are going to go through the top 50 Mini-Mates that still need to be made into Marvel Legends. Then, I'm going to reveal 4 essential figures we still need in any form. Let's start with Marvel's first family, the Fantastic Four, a group that I love so much I have dedicated 2 shelves to their Legends figures down in my secret lounge. We've gotten a ton of Mini-Mates of the FF, from ones based on John Byrne's costume designs, to more modern versions, and of course, the classic Jack Kirby looks. And this is where we start our list. We have never gotten a classic Invisible Girl with her short hair. That's a figure that we desperately need. Now, we all know that the Mole Man was the FF's first adversary, but we could really use some army-building moloids to fill out our shelves. One of the FF's earliest villains was the Puppet Master, appearing all the way back in issue 8. We are way overdue for this classic Marvel villain, and why not include him in a 2-pack with his daughter, the blind sculptress Alicia Masters, the future wife of the Thing. How about some of the Fantastic Four's closest allies, the Inhumans? I've had to cobble together this display from customs and figures from other lines. Mini-Mates, however, have provided us with one of the most requested Build-A-Figures ever: Black Bolt's loyal, lovable, teleporting dog, Lockjaw. And who can forget the villains from the Negative Zone? Well, Hasbro, I guess. I'll give them credit for their Annihilus Build-A-Figure, but man, could we use a true Jack Kirby-inspired Blastar figure. With the coming of the HasLab Galactus, not shown because it totally doesn't fit in my display, we have gotten a ton of his heralds. But only Mini-Mates has given us a complete set of all the main characters ever to serve the Devourer of Worlds, including the only figure to date of Airwalker. You didn't think we could leave the FF without talking about Dr. Doom, did ya? While Doom has been well represented in Marvel Legends, only Mini-Mates have let us army build his robot servo guards. Let's check out another of my favorite 1980s teams, Canada's very own superheroes, Alpha Flight. I love my Legends Alpha Flight display, but once again, Mini-Mates tops it, with all the previous team members Legends has made, plus the last founding member in Marina and the first added member in Box. Double bonus: Aurora and Northstar come with molded together hands. In 2005, a little-known indie writer by the name of Robert Kirkman turned everything upside down with his Marvel Zombies miniseries, made even more popular by the painted homage covers by noted horror artist Arthur Suydam. This isn't even a fair fight, as Mini-Mates has produced about 20 Marvel Zombie figures to Legends' Big Fat Zero. The zombie fad may have passed, but there is still lots of opportunity for figures here. The X-Men are certainly one of the corners of the Marvel Universe that have been well covered by Legends figures, and the same can be said of Mini-Mates, as we have gotten whole teams of the classic X-Men, multiple versions of the new X-Men, and even Jim Lee's versions of the Uncanny X-Men. But who are we missing? Let's start by taking a peek at the reunited original team as X-Factor. Here they are as they appeared in the earliest issues of the title. We need figures in these costumes of Cyclops, Marvel Girl, Angel, and Beast. But Mini-Mates wasn't done. They gave us updated X-Factor costumes from Louise and Walt Simonson's run on the title, with a gorgeous new Marvel Girl in red. We weren't quite finished with the original X-Men, as Brian Michael Bendis brought the teen heroes to the future as the all-new X-Men, and each of these costumes is deserving of a Marvel Legends figure. Speaking of teen heroes, the New Mutants have sorta been represented in 6-inch form, but nothing like the roster compiled by Mini-Mates, where we have classic versions of Cannonball and Sunspot, our very first Magma, and a true Wolfsbane figure. Wolfsbane was also a part of a new X-Factor led by Cyclops' brother Havoc. We need her in this distinct costume as well to round out this team. But what about the bad guys? Marvel's Merry Mutants have faced off against some of the worst, beginning with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Give Hasbro credit. With the recent Toad and Avalanche figures, they are so close to finishing this team. All they need is Destiny to complete the roster, a truly glaring omission at this point. The Dark Phoenix saga was one of the greatest stories in all of comics, and we really need that Shi'ar Empress Lilandra to make the story complete. That extra head we got doesn't count. Those issues were immediately followed by another classic, Days of Future Past. And while we've gotten Logan in an exclusive 2-pack with the Sentinel, it is the adult Kate Pryde that we are missing from the 6-inch Legends line. Let's finish off one more X-Men team, shall we? The Outback Squad with a new pre-Ninja transformation Betsy Braddock figure. Come on, Hasbro, take the lead from MiniMates on this one. Few comics defined an era the way the Ultimates captured the early 2000s jingoistic fervor. And while we've gotten versions of Cap and Shellhead, we still need Thor and Hulk to complete the primary team. It's time to bring on the bad guys and fill in the gaps in our Marvel Legends collections, starting with a big one, Mephisto. We were so close to getting him as part of the HasLab Engine of Vengeance. The Minimate will just have to do for now. It's kind of crazy that Iron Man's nemesis, the Mandarin, hasn't gotten a proper Legends figure. It's even crazier that Minimates has done 2 different versions. I am very happy to have a 6-inch Winter Guard display, but the Build-A-Figure Crimson Dynamo and the Marvel Select Titanium Man really need to look more like these classic versions shown here. These 2 are just perfect. My Asgard display on the top shelf of the Secret Lounge is one of my favorites, but there's still a few figures that we're missing, like the Cronins, or Stone Men from Saturn, that Thor fought in his very first appearance in Journey into Mystery 83. Or how about the Executioner, seen here with his axe, and the Enchantress, just waiting to tell him what to do. And we can't forget the big bad of Walt Simonson's epic run, Suitor. Yeah, I use the movie one in my display, but a true comic version would be better. And how about Thor's allies? This Baldar would make an incredible 6-inch figure. And don't even get me started on the Warriors 3. One of the most devastating stories in Spider-Man history was the death of Jean DeWolf. And while it still shocks me to my core, this tale is certainly worthy of Marvel Legends of Captain DeWolf and the Sin Eater. Marvel Team Up paired Spidey with another hero in high-flying action every month, and one of the very first comics I got was this one that exploded off the racks at my local Quickie Mart. And while I'd love to have a Dreadnought out of sentimentality alone based off of this issue, this blue behemoth would make an incredible Build-A-Figure. There are few things that I love more than C-list Spidey villains, and Hasbro has been giving us a steady supply over the past few years, but there's still a few that are missing. Like Screwball here. I say keep them coming in the Marvel Legends line, cause we still need that rocket racer. We have made it to the top 5, and while there have been many women in Peter Parker's life, there is one that has always stood above the rest. Aunt May. Yes, we have an animated version, but I want a classic comics 6-inch widow front and center in my Spidey display, right where she belongs. Not everyone is as lucky as I am to have custom figures of classic Ditko villains, the Crime Masters, Enforcers, and this gorgeous custom Spider Slayer from my friend Martin Dallard. Minimates gave us a Spider Slayer Volume 2, but it still has that maniacal J. Jonah Jameson head peering out on the hunt for the wall crawler. It's hard to imagine that there's a version of Wolverine that hasn't already been made in 6-inch form. Then I remembered this classic comic cover by Mark Silvestri of Wolverine taken over by the Brood. This crazy version of everyone's favorite Berserker Canuck is certainly deserving of the 3 spot on our list. You would think that by now every possible version of Spider-Man has been made, but there's still one I'd like to see in Legends form. A half-transformation Spidey, as the symbiote suit is engulfing over the classic red and blues. Give me this, and I'll be satisfied. For now. We have made it to the top spot on this list, and this is a figure so cool, I didn't even know how badly I needed him. first appearance blade. The 70s vampire killer is captured in all his glory in this Minimate. Come on, Hasbro, you know you want to make this figure. He would be perfect for a retro card back. But what about those figures that I promised at the beginning of the video? 4 of my favorite characters that haven't been made in any form. They are, of course, Power Pack, the pre-teen superheroes that have been around since the 1980s. I love Power Pack so much that I made my kids dress up as Alex, Julie, Jack, and Katie Power for Halloween a few years ago. Let me know in the comments who you would like to see as either a Minimate or a Marvel Legend. And as always, for the best in comics history and action figures, subscribe to Carbon Scoring.